Shop Talk with TnT. I'm Trent Nyhus, Farmers Insurance, the Nyhus Agency.
Ted Peterson, LakePlace.com, Brothers Realty.
And we're actually in Clear Lake tonight with Allison Blanchard of Compass Realty. Allison, thanks for letting us come in tonight. We're just going to start. Your story is pretty unique. If you guys don't know Allison, you must be living underneath a rock, or you're not from Northwest Wisconsin. So she graduated from Clear Lake in the mid-2000s, and then she went to college for a little bit, and then she headed south. So when you were in Mississippi, just kind of explain everything that went on. It kind of was the hardship because Katrina was hitting, or Katrina hit, and everything else that was going on.
Okay. So when I moved to Mississippi, it was supposed to be a 6-week trip, and that's it. It turned into approximately 8 years-ish. So that was kind of a curveball. But while I was there, I built houses and learned how to build. The biggest education I had in building at the time was building sheds at the high school shop class. And I got put in charge of a 120 home building project. And I was a project manager for that. In that process, I met my husband. Fast forward, I start thinking I need to get into a different career because we built those houses. And then when that project was done, I needed to do something. I had graduated, or almost graduated, from Stout with a psych rehab degree, and that job didn't exist in Mississippi at the time. So there was no rehab program that I could work with ladies coming out of prison, so I had to figure something else out. And I decided to start in real estate. The problems we were having, though, and what most people probably don't know, is the struggle it took for me to get to where I am today. And that is a hard story for me to tell, but I like to tell people because I want them to know it's possible to have hard times and still make something of yourself. So let's rewind 10 years because one of my favorite quotes is, I can't remember who it's from, but we underestimate what we can do in 10 years and overestimate what we can do in 1. I think it's Bill Gates. Have you heard that?
No.
What?
It's really good.
What? Okay. So let's reverse 10 years so people can kind of get an idea about what happened in 10 years and what got me to here. So in Mississippi, we were having quite a hard time. Katrina had happened, and then we had the deep water oil horizon.
What year did Katrina happen?
2006?
Yeah.
So you went down.
I was there in January of 2007 is when I started.
So was Katrina what sent you down to Mississippi?
Yes.
Okay.
I was actually sitting in Stout, still in class, and we were talking about how it affected the mental health of people, because that was my education at the time, and how it affected people because they couldn't get medication.
Okay.
The hospitals were shut down. Nobody had anything. That caused a big problem for anyone who needed mental health help. So I was sitting there thinking, I can't just sit here and do nothing. So I literally withdrew from college and moved down there. And then I got this job that just kind of fell in my lap.
And that was the project development?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So after that, we had my husband and I, who at that time I had just met, but we ended up, he had 3 kids and we had 2 more, so we had 5 kiddos, and we fell on really hard times. At that point, we were about 3 to 4 months behind on rent. We didn't have any money to pay any other bills. We didn't have anything of value in the home, really. And my husband asked me, hey, what are we going to do? We're going to get kicked out of our house if we don't do something drastic. And the next day, we found ourselves at the pawn shop pawning off my wedding ring. I think it was like for $1,600, which was not what it was worth, but we needed something. So that's what we did. I literally cried behind his shoulder the whole time, and I felt bad for the lady taking the ring from me because she felt horrible about it too. And that day I decided, game over, we're not doing this anymore. and something flipped in me, and I decided we're not gonna stay in this type of lifestyle. I called my parents, and I don't even know if they know this story, so if they see this, my mom's gonna be like, what? I said, hey, we're doing okay, but I don't have the extra $500 or whatever to take my real estate course. Would you pay for it? And as soon as I have a closing, I'll pay you back. Absolutely. So they did. I was lucky enough to just by chance get with a broker that was really good, great guy, Dan Smith, and he sold the company like 2 or 3 months after I was there, or maybe a little longer, but he sold it to the #1 broker in the state of Mississippi.
She bought him out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and she was a Coldwell Banker franchise, and he was Century 21, but they're under the same umbrella of Realogy, so they allowed it.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to be mentored by her, and she taught me everything that she knew. When there was conferences, we went to them together. She would take me with her. And this particular conference, 2 years after I had started, I started to make a little bit of money, and we were behind on bills, but we were paying them for the first time in a long time. You know, I told somebody it was so bad I would take a bill and literally have to just throw it in the garbage because there was nothing I could do about it. That is not a good place to be. And it sounds horrible, but so it was 2 years later, we were going to Chicago, and I asked her if I could bring Ben, my husband, with to the conference because we hadn't been away in forever because we had no money. And she said, sure. And we asked if we could drive rather than fly, so we drove up there. We got in the hotel that night, and it was like February 5th. And he's like, hey, I have a gift for you. And I was like, well, I didn't buy you anything. I got nothing. He's like, I know, that's fine. And he's like, I'll go get it, okay? And he comes back, and he says, I got you something. And he opened up his hands, and there was a ring box. And I opened it up, and it was my ring.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
From 2 years prior, he had went back the next day and didn't tell me. And he had paid very small amounts and begged her to keep it and not pawn it off, and he bought it back. So now
Wow.
So he bought your wedding ring twice.
Twice.
That's how much he loves you. You bought it twice.
So this is one expensive wedding ring, but I got it back, and that kind of solidified that we had gotten out of that hole, and it was game on from there.
So that was that 2007 is when you moved down there. 2012 is when you got your real estate license.
Yep.
2014 was the Chicago trip.
Approximately, yep.
Okay. Just trying to keep up here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. It's more for my own brain than
yeah. So when you're down in Mississippi, and you know, you had a great mentor, which I know we've talked about this multiple times. Find yourself a mentor. Find somebody that knows what they're doing, even if it's not in your industry. They're gonna help you out.
They just know so many things that you don't know, and even if it's not in your industry, they have knowledge that will help you. Yeah,
and I think that's really cool that, you know, especially you landed on hard times, and you kind of fell into finding a great mentor for you.
Yes.
That you still stay in contact with now, which is very cool. So when you were in Mississippi selling real estate, were you production-wise, were you one of the top, or were you in the middle, or?
So obviously in the beginning, we were in an area that was a retirement community.
Oh.
So it was like maybe somewhere in between like the size of maybe New Richmond and Hudson.
Okay.
But it was a planned urban development, and there was just houses everywhere. And a lot of the agents were retired, but I had 5 kids. So I marketed the tar out of the fact that I had to work. I wasn't just doing it for fun.
Yep.
Because most of the agents were. And so people took to that quick, and everyone's like, well, you need that check. You're going to work for it. You're going to try to sell my house. Whereas, you know, what they were saying is the other people are they're just out there for fun. So they knew I had to work, and I got that reputation quick.
A hungry dog hunts the hardest.
Right? So I got that reputation quick, and I was in the top, I don't know. I was in the top percentage for sure.
So you were with Coldwell Banker.
Yeah.
Big agency, lots of agents.
Yeah, so I think now, I don't know for sure, but I think now they're probably like 7, they have 7 offices across the Mississippi and now Louisiana coast, and they have like 200-ish agents.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the same broker that I had.
Okay. Jeez. Oh. So you were down there not during Katrina, but after Katrina. I mean,
Correct.
quickly, what was that like? I mean, we saw a storm around here in 2019, which, I mean, was devastating, but I
It
mean,
was.
Katrina was, I mean, that had to be, was it similar to that, just on a bigger scale?
I always compared it because it's the only thing I had been through. That tornado that happened in Siren, maybe
Okay. I remember
probably the early '90s ish.
Early 2000s.
Oh, was it that?
Yeah.
Okay, whenever it was.
Yep.
The difference was you have the water factor, so
Yes,
you have the damage, but then you have the water and the muck and everything that comes with it. Plus, they had a 35-foot tidal wave.
Okay.
My office was 8 miles inland, and because of the tributaries and rivers, we had 8 foot of water 9 miles in.
Okay.
And then tornadoes also, so you have water damage and everything that comes along with that, but then you also have, after the water damage and then another 20, 30, 40 miles, then you have tornadoes.
Okay.
And so the capacity to understand what happened down there is not able to comprehend it unless you've seen it. We took a bus of 90 kids from Stout, and I was one of the leaders. And we were like, where is it? Like, what's so bad about this? And we turned off the highway, and once we started heading south from the highway, it just kept getting worse. And I have goosebumps because it was so bad, the bus went silent like that.
Yeah.
And we had 90 kids that started seeing things they've never seen before.
Yep.
And the amount of people that were lost and the stories. So when we got there, a lot of what we did was just listen to people, because imagine a swath from Duluth, 60 feet wide, all the way down to Chicago. And that is the amount of damage. Every single person in that entire swath has nothing.
60 miles wide?
Yep.
Okay.
Because you've got the water, you've got the tornadoes,
Yeah,
you've got people everywhere, all along the coast. There's no way to understand what it did. And we were able to just go and give time. So the houses that I built, I worked, 12 to 16 hour days, 7 days a week for a year. And it was all volunteer.
Yeah.
So when you see that type of thing, I think it changes your life and your outlook on what a purpose is. And that has been a driving factor for me since. Like I said, when everything flipped, it's like, okay, I can do better than this. I've seen horrible. We're not going back there. And it just kind of gives you, it's a catalyst to do more and help more people.
So you cut your teeth with Coldwell Banker in 2012. 2016, you guys decided to move back here.
No, so I worked with them all through until 2016.
Yeah, but that's when you decided to move back here.
Yeah, in 2016 I moved. I had worked my tail off to get back home. My whole family's here, everything's here. And we moved back here at the very end of 2016. And then I continued my career here.
Okay. So got your license here, or did you get it before you moved back, or?
No, I got it when I got here. It took me a little bit longer because my son broke his leg and was like cast up to his hip. Because why not?
Yeah.
Playing soccer at school.
Because nothing that Allison has done
Yeah.
is easy. It's not a straight path at
Yeah,
all.
we're just gonna play the victim for a hot minute. But to be fair, he could not move for 6 weeks or longer. I can't remember what it was. So got my license. Worked with a company out of Hudson that I just needed something more local. So then I actually helped start a company in 2018
Okay.
or the early 2019-ish. Worked there, learned a lot, helped manage that company. And then in 2020, decided to open up my own company.
When did you open in 2020?
July.
Okay, so right
In the middle of all of it.
Yeah. So great
Why
time.
not?
Great time to start. You know what? Nothing says jumping off the deep end like right in the middle of a pandemic. So
Right, and so it turned out to be great because there was a lot of benefits, tax benefits, grants, things that I was able to.
Yeah.
I was, which was not something I knew at the time, of course, but it ended up being right.
Yeah.
It ended up being a blessing in disguise that way. But Compass is very important to me because in every company I've worked for, not every company, but I just felt like something was missing. And I wanted to be able to navigate real estate and help the people that I was working with, both my clients and my agents. And I wanted to make sure that I was making good decisions every day in my business, in my personal life, and really stay the course. And everyone's probably heard me say that a million times on my Facebook in real life. But the best way to stay the course, if you're out in the woods, if you're anywhere, is to have a compass. And that's why we named the company this. Because I figured if I'm looking at that every single day, there's no way I'm going to forget what my purpose is. We're driven by a purpose, and it's to stay the course.
I like your name. I like your motto. I mean, it's very fitting for what you do.
The colors are great. They're better than maroon and gold.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss colors on here, but
Was that supposed to be right here?
no.
Well, maybe we should put it there.
It's fine. It's gonna get edited out anyways. 'Cause we don't talk about the one color. So
Even though we're both wearing blue.
yeah, I know. And my company's colors are blue.
Are they?
Yeah.
I love the color blue.
So 2020, you start your first business, really.
On my own, yes.
Yeah, on your
Yep.
own. So, and you're in Clear Lake, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So we're in Clear Lake 2020. Is it just you working in that office right away, or did you hire another agent?
I had one agent with me
Okay.
that came from my other company, and her and I started it, and she's like, I'm with you, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, come on.
And she was new too.
She was relatively new, but she was awesome.
Yeah.
So she knew what she was doing. She was producing. She's a great human, and I'm very lucky that she came with me because she is one of my friends for a very long time, first of all, and secondly, she's a great human who understood our brand and the culture and backed it 140% and used it.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it was it was a parallel with you. So I mean, that makes it a lot easier.
Yep, and that's it's culture is very important, not just in this business but any business. And if you don't keep it top of mind, it'll be gone before you know it. So, and any business should make sure that that's at the top of their list of things that they're. It's kind of like your health. If you don't pay attention to it daily, it'll be gone before you know it, and you'll say, "What the heck happened?" or "How'd that happen?"
Yep, shared your mindset, shared your goals,
Yes.
so you guys can bounce things off each other. And
Yep, and then since then, we don't, other than a few people, but like we don't really actively look for new agents or people, and we do that with our clients as well. We try to attract people who want to be with us.
Yep.
And
it was interesting. Darren and Brett said that when we interviewed them. They said
oh, absolutely.
the best agents we found were when we weren't looking for one.
And they do great business. And they are completely like known and trusted in their area, and that's why, because in any business, people have to like, know, and trust you to trust you to do whatever it is you're doing. Especially all of our businesses are extremely big things, and we have to take that with a lot of responsibility and provide and produce results to get people what they need.
Well, yeah, because you guys sell their biggest investments too
Legit.
that they
ever have,
and you insure it.
and I insure it. So
That's a great mix. Yeah.
it's a huge, like you said.
But I feel some people don't take that seriously.
The responsibility part?
Yes, that's serious. It's not. I mean, for me, and I know you think this way too, but I don't want to trick you into buying a house.
Oh God, no.
I want you to buy the house you want.
Mm-hmm.
So in 7 years, which is average people will turn over, you're going to come in and say, "Hey, would you please sell this for me and help us find the next one?" I want to sell you 4 houses in your lifetime, not trick you into buying one. But people
agreed.
do that.
I know.
That happens.
Just looking for that one commission
Yes,
check.
no, I don't want to make. I would rather make less than do whatever.
But that is a fantastic lesson in creating value in what you do,
Yes.
and not just sell what you do.
Yes.
And if you can't provide value no matter what you're doing, then why are you doing it?
Yes.
That's funny. That's like the number one thing on our farmers pages is sell the value, and
Yes.
so many people get upset about it because they're like, well, you can't sell value because we're priced more or priced, and it's like, just actually have a conversation, educate them. If you educate your clients, it's a lot easier to sell the value of it versus just throwing a proposal in front of them saying this is the number, because that's not going to do them any good.
And that's the hardest question for a real estate salesperson. For me, it's not hard, but a new agent, that's a hard question. If someone says, why do I need a real estate agent? Why do I need one? You have to know what your value is. You have to know. And
No, you have to know your worth. Will you grab those?
grab what?
Can we do this?
Yeah.
Can I ask you to grab those t-shirts?
I'll be right back.
He's back. So can I just parlay real fast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you just said that. So I also own a t-shirt company. It's called Compass Clothing Co. And this is one of our number one seller.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you get your name from?
Compass Clothing Co. What do you think? How are you going to stay the course in life? So
If you don't know your worth.
Yeah.
you have to know your worth, and I was unaware. I don't know if it's just because I'm a little too sure of myself, but
Really?
yeah,
Oh.
slightly.
Never
It's a good
thought
thing.
that way.
Everybody's best quality can also be their worst if not used properly. So, mine, yes, I know my worth, but it is our number one seller because I have found that so many people don't know their worth. And it's hard to own a business or be in sales or take the jump in business in general, whatever that jump might be, to grow, to expand, to hire somebody full time. Yeah, you know, your first hire outside of that part-time person,
It's the scariest thing in the
it
world.
really is.
Because you just took on another responsibility because you feel, and
Right.
like when I hired Heidi for the first time, I went, okay, I am now responsible for her family too because I'm paying.
Legit.
And I was like, okay, this is scary.
Very scary.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just goes back to, okay, you know your value, you know what you're doing, don't second guess yourself, which we do anyhow.
Yep. Every
day.
Yep.
But, you know, those are the things, and I think that's why it's so important to keep yourself around people that will help you on those low days or on the days that you're questioning yourself, because if you don't have the correct people around you to help you get there, it's either A, going to take you longer, B, you're going to quit, or C, you're going to run into a lot of potholes that you don't necessarily need to run into.
Yeah. So kind of reverting back. So now you have 3 locations, correct?
Yep.
So Clear Lake still, Amory, and then Viroqua, which, if you're our listeners like Tad here, Viroqua is by La Crosse.
He said like,
Well, I knew where I just didn't know she owned the company.
Yeah. So now with 3 different agencies, how many agents do you have?
we have a total with our agents and staff, we have 11.
Okay. So 11.
You've been busy. I mean, that's not even a year since you started.
It's a year
Oh no,
and
it's
a
almost
half.
it's almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
No,
Yeah.
it's a year and a half. I still got 6 months to go for 2 years.
Okay. They
Yeah.
said March.
July.
Oh, July.
I'm guessing
She
she
said
said
March for something. I don't remember that.
That's when we started the purchase of Amory this
Yeah.
past year.
Oh,
So we purchased Amory. I think we closed in April or May.
okay.
So-
And so that was 3-4 agents maybe.
1, 2, 4.
Yeah, and that's gone well.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So we transitioned. It's great because once again they're like, known, and trusted.
Yep.
They do fantastic
Yep.
business, and we have the same core values of putting clients
Yep.
first and running a really good, honest
Yep.
business.
Yeah, they're good people. I mean,
Absolutely.
I haven't done a lot of stuff with those guys, but the stuff I have, I've always enjoyed
Yeah.
working with them.
Yep. And if the core values are the same, the rest of it can be worked out.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
It was a really good transition, you know, working on market share and making sure that we're staying relevant in a big market,
Yep.
and just working on different things that we can do to continue to grow it, just like any business.
Let's just throw it at the end so I don't forget that, because so you know, we were talking earlier, you have a pretty important speaking engagement.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
Good question. So this has been going on since I was in high school. I don't know, I put it on my Facebook today. I said, since I've been in high school, I've wanted 2 jobs that were like my dream jobs. Did you guys see that post?
No.
Oh no.
Good, because you're gonna love this. So I want, no, that's okay. I wanted to be a public speaker since I was young.
That's
always,
not something people aspire to.
I did a speech in college on how you get milk. And I loved it because I got to teach all the city kids that were at Stout, where does your milk come from? And I was so, no, I was so jazzed. I had pictures. I had an actual milker at Stout. And they were like, we've never seen one of those. And I'm like, this is awesome. So this has been going on forever. And then my second job was, I really want to be a color crayon namer. Somebody's got to do it.
I think I read that on Facebook. Yeah,
I don't know if that's an actual job.
Someone has to do it.
They're not coming out with new colors.
Yes, hello, 64 pack. That's like,
Yeah, but they're
60
already named.
They're already named.
but
They're already named.
they came out with 120 whatever pack.
How
And then
how big do you think these kids' backpacks are to carry them to school?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
If you're
wheels
out
now.
there and you are in charge of color crayon naming, I'm your gal.
It's
So
really cool.
that doesn't get to happen tomorrow, but the speaking engagement does. And so the way that all happened is I've always wanted to do that. I didn't know my worth in that department. And I didn't think I had anything of value to give to somebody to stand up stage and be like, what do you want me to talk about?
Color crayons?
Color crayons?
So this is a color that I would call this one.
Magenta.
That's how tomorrow's
already?
gonna be. It's just your interview for it.
Can't wait. So I had a mentor that my old broker boss introduced me to, and he was a speaker about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, and everything that he taught, it's kind of like a diet. You have to find the one that works for you. What he taught worked for me, and I did what he told me to, and it literally rocketed my business, and I still do it today. I just happened to call him, and this is something I would say, if you're in business, if you're in life, ask the question. Don't be scared. I've talked to him occasionally over the years, and he just keeps in touch, and we have great conversations about business and real estate. And about 6 months ago, I called him and I said, look, you're one of the leading speakers in the nation for real estate. You have mentioned multiple times that we are a business that's primarily women, and there are no women speakers. So do you want to teach me? And he said yes. And our first engagement together is tomorrow, and I am extremely excited.
So you're, I don't know, you're the undercard? That's a boxing term, I guess, but.
Is it? I don't
Yeah.
watch boxing.
Yeah, neither do I, but.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, I am. I feel like I can bring some value to the working agents who are struggling and tell them, hey, look, keep going.
Yeah.
I understand. I've been
Yeah.
there. And anytime you can relate and give somebody a story and say, look, hey, if she can do it in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We have 2 listings on the market right now. If I can be successful and make, whatever it is I make.
Yep.
In a small town, don't tell me you can't do it in some big city
Yeah.
where there's 100 listings. So it's a relatable story. It's something that they can hopefully relate to on the mom factor, because a lot of them are moms and ladies. It's just different having a lady speaker up there than a gentleman.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're trying to kind of break a glass ceiling then for the women speakers
I
of
guess.
real estate.
There are some great ones out there. I just want to add my name to that list and maybe play a little bit on that court and see if I can hold my own as well.
That's all right, guys. Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty. Me and Tad tried to do something neat, and we figured out that we can't do anything really cool. So
We're not very smart.
Yeah, we got back to the trusty laptop. So we cut off Allison in the middle of her story, which was actually a big reveal of what she's doing next, because she is sick of making color crayons and naming them. So
I'm not sick
And
of
she
that yet.
spit all over our paper,
Yeah.
so we're not really sure where
she
we're
did a
at.
spit take, and So we're gonna let Allison kind of wrap up her big reveal here, and then we're gonna go from there.
Well, we're really excited because we are making a partnership at our Amory office with a rental management company. We want to provide more value to the people around us, both the renters, the buyers, the sellers, and provide everything in-house. So we're just really working on value this year and bringing more of it to everyone around us.
So you're talking apartment buildings, rental houses.
You name it. Yep.
And you want to get into VRBOs.
Yep. VRBOs, Airbnbs will be second on the list. We're going to get all our processes down because they're currently renting and managing 110 units. So we've got quite a bit going on, and it's going to be in the same building but have their own entrance and everything. But if you want to buy a house and then rent it, we can do all of that in one place now.
Cool.
I think that's something that, you're bringing kind of the big ideas from big cities to small town Wisconsin, which is awesome.
That's true.
Yes.
Because this is literally from the playbook of my broker who owns a rental company within her company, and I think they manage like hundreds of rentals.
I can't even tell you who told me this, but someone said, don't think of it that way, because if you live in Chicago, there could be something that's 3 miles away, but it takes you 30 minutes to get there. So if you live in Turtle Lake, don't think of going to Rice Lake as 30 miles away, because it's still 30 minutes away.
Yep.
You just have to expand your distance, where in Chicago it's not distance, it's time.
Correct.
So it's the same amount of time to go
Yep.
to each place. So don't think of it that way.
Correct.
And realistically, if you're thinking of it, a trip to Rice Lake is one phone call with Tad. So
It is.
yeah. All right. Well, that's a great place for us to kind of wrap it up. My question for you: where do people find your T-shirts? How can people follow you?
Oh, good question.
Let your plug happen here.
Plug. So we do everything on the same website. So our Compass website for real estate is compassrealtywi.com, and there's a tab up in the right-hand corner that says T-shirts, and you can just go in there and order, and we send them right to you.
Okay. And
Compass crayons are on there too.
Crayons will be on there next.
all right, so we're putting things on hold here. I know that she wants to be a public speaker, but I feel like this crayon thing has got some life tonight. So maybe next
I think
week
someone watching knows somebody.
that knows how to make
Who
crayons.
who knows
Who knows
who
Captain
we
Crayola?
need. Yes. Is that a person? You know what? We're coming back to this video when these guys want to be my friend from all the money I've made because I named a color crayon.
You just want to name one, or how many do you want to name?
Well, if I get a
The
whole
whole
realtor
124
box,
pack.
we're going
That's
to have
a-
a realtor pack.
So how much is in a realtor pack?
Well, you got to have red for the Keller Williams, blue for Compass.
I think we're orange.
What color are you? Like blue and orange and
Yeah.
green?
I know there's orange.
So
on
yeah, like
Brown.
we gotta have all those colors.
Brown orange.
it.
Okay.
Awesome orange.
So you can fill in the colors like on your when you're doing forms. I'm gonna start a new trend.
You're gonna send it off to be in crayon.
I don't think that's gonna hold up in.
I know
illegal.
this is Allison because it's in blue and white.
Yeah, this is Allison because it's in color crayon. Well, thank you again, Allison.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
has been a lot of fun. Once again, people listening, I read a quote today. I shared it with Ted on our way here. It's the road to success and failure look very similar. And I think a lot of people forget that when they're starting their business or doing anything in business, is that you might be doing something that's going to make you successful, but you feel like you're failing.
Absolutely.
And maybe just a little turn here makes you super successful, or a little keep going that way is going to make you go.
Yeah.
And we have a shirt for that too. It says navigate failure to find success.
So
Because it's part, I mean, you can't do one without the other.
do these come in men's size?
No,
See,
we're working on it but to be fair, this company is based on influencing 10,000 business women by the end of last year. So we did not make that, but we're going to keep working on it. So we are actually, because we get asked so much by businessmen as well, we are going to actually start a men's line, or have talked about it, because so many people want them for the guys too.
plus size models right here.
Got it.
So once again,
Hey, my quote for the night is: if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And my advice to everybody is if you are thinking of starting your own business or you're afraid, pick up the phone, call Allison, pick up the phone, call Trent, pick up the phone, call Tad. Everybody, with us doing these videos, the one thing that I think I have learned, or not even that I learned, just have it's been thrown to the front of my head, is that people love to tell their story. People love to help other people. We're not that bad of a species. We're really not. People like to talk about what has worked for them. So pick up the phone and call. Ask questions.
I said that earlier. Ask the question. Mm-hmm. Find somebody who's willing. And they're, part of the problem, I think, is business owners are so busy, so they might seem unapproachable. But for the most part, they're willing to say, hey, if you're willing to work, I'm willing to help.
Yeah,
or at
absolutely.
least give you some advice and listen and be there if you need anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, can't really say it any better than that.
No.
I think that's awesome. So thanks again, Allison. This is Shop Talk with TnT. I'm Trent Nyhus, Farmers Insurance, the Nyhus Agency.
Ted Peterson, LakePlace.com, Brothers Realty.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.